Hey guys, this is Abhishek from gadgetstudio.com, and today we are going to tell you some of the differences and some of the changes which we have seen on iPhone 5s as compared to the iPhone 5 which we have. Again, there is something which again I'm kind of disappointed with Apple because Apple has now discontinued the iPhone 5, which is definitely a very good phone, and now it is not available, so you cannot go and buy an iPhone 5 as of now. When it comes to the version which has replaced this one is the iPhone 5C, which is again not that good in terms of the overall look and feel as compared to the iPhone 5. And when we take a look over the iPhone 5s, the iPhone 5 looks exactly like iPhone 5. So the iPhone 5s it looks exactly like iPhone 5 in terms of the overall build quality, in terms of the overall hardware, the material which has been used. You have aluminum on both of these phones as far as the back is concerned. You have the same kind of glass over here on the back side, which is the same over here, which is actually covered by the skin. And when it comes to the camera is a kind of enhancement which is there on the iPhone 5s. Which is an 8 megapixel camera. Again, both of these devices has 8 megapixel camera, but in terms of the overall colors, are actually better when it comes to the overall colors are actually better, and the overall photos are much better on this device as far as the low light photos are concerned on iPhone 5s as compared to iPhone 5. And there are some differences in terms of the hardware as well. So let's start the comparison. First of all, we take a closer look as far as the build quality of these two devices is concerned. In terms of the build quality, both of these devices are very much similar. When it comes to the top, on the top you have the power and sleep key, which is a metallic button on both of these phones, nicely designed, similar. On this side you have the volume rocker buttons, which are again separate buttons, and again the build quality and the overall finishing is exactly same. At the bottom as well we see similar kind of a design. Everything is just same. We have the mic over here, the loudspeaker over here, the 3.5 audio jack, and the lightning pin connector over here, the dock. You have the SIM card tray slot, which will accept a nano SIM on both of these phones. So again, in terms of the connectivity for the SIM card as well, both of these phones have the nano SIM card in terms of the connectivity for the SIM card. When it comes to the front display, we see a little amount of difference because we have an home button, which is a physical home button, and again it is kind of concave in terms of the overall design. You have a kind of a curve over here, which actually makes sure that you can press this button quite easily. On this device, on the iPhone 5s, we see a different design as far as the home button is concerned. The home button over here is not only a home button, although you can press it, but it does have a fingerprint sensor as well. So you can actually unlock the phone with the help of this fingerprint sensor. You can also buy apps with the help of fingerprint sensor. Again, this fingerprint sensor is not there on iPhone 5, so this is one major improvement as far as the iPhone 5s is concerned as compared to iPhone 5. When we talk about other specifications in terms of the overall dimensions, both of these phones are same, identical in terms of the dimensions. The thickness of both of these phones is 7.6 millimeter. The weight of both of these phones is around 112 gram, which is again same. When it comes to the display technology, the display technology used on both of these phones is same. It is an IPS LCD LED backlit display. When it comes to the display resolution, it is again same, that is 640 into 1136 pixels, which we have on both of these phones. Spread on 4 inch of display, you get a pixel density of around 326 pixels per inch, which is again good. When it comes to the screen protection, you have Corning Gorilla Glass protection on both of these displays. So in terms of the overall build quality, the overall form factor, the iPhone 5s and 5 is exactly same. So you will not notice any difference, although somehow I feel that iPhone 5s is slightly lighter as compared to the iPhone 5 which I have already. When we talk about the storage models are same. You have 16 GB version on both of these phones, and again on the 16 GB version you get around 12 to 13 GB available to the user, or sometimes more as well. Okay. Another difference in between these two phones as far as the slightly enhanced camera which we have on the iPhone 5s and the physical home button, which is different, which has a fingerprint sensor on this device, there is a difference on the RAM technology as well. We have a DDR2 RAM, which is 1 GB of RAM on iPhone 5, whereas on this device we have 1 GB of RAM again, but this is a DDR3 RAM. So slightly faster technology RAM which we have on the iPhone 5s As far as other things are concerned, when we talk about the front camera on both of these phones is 1.2 megapixel camera. You can record high definition video at 720p from both of these phones. As far as the front camera is concerned, you do have face detection. FaceTime is supported on both of these phones. When it comes to the back camera on these two devices is little bit different in terms of the resolution at which you can record the video. You can only record high definition video at 1080p on this device with 30 frames per second, whereas on the iPhone 5s you can actually record high definition video both at 1080p as well as at 720p, both at the 1080p video can be recorded at 30 frames per second, whereas the 720p will be a slow motion video which you can record, a high definition slow motion video you can record at 120 frames per second. And you can easily notice the same within the camera UI. And let me just launch the camera UI on both of these phones. So inside the camera UI, if we take a look over the modes, we do not have the slow motion mode supported on the iPhone 5. Basically, as you can see, you have a video mode, and after the video mode there is no mode over here, whereas on this device, on the iPhone 5s, you have a slow motion mode supported in which you can record video at 120 frames per second at 720p. And again, this will be a slow motion video which you can record directly without needing any application. On iPhone 5 you can always install some application which will allow you to record slow motion videos. And you do have other modes like square mode, panorama mode is supported on both of these phones. You do have the option of applying different filters as well on both of these phones. So in terms of the camera, let me just show you a comparison of the photos which we have clicked on both of these two devices. This is one photo which we have clicked with the iPhone 5s, and let me just show you another photo which we have clicked with iPhone 5. So you can easily see the difference in between these two photos. I don't know whether you can actually notice this thing or not, but the white is looking much better on the iPhone 5s, whereas this one is not that good in terms of the overall color saturation and the rendering of the colors. The iPhone 5s has a slightly better photo, and when it comes to the amount of details which we can see, the detailing is again same on both of these phones, but the colors are looking much better, especially the brightness of the white level, especially on this phone, as far as the photo is concerned, is much better as compared to the iPhone 5 which we have with us. Another difference in between these two phones is the processor. We have a ARM V7 processor, dual core 1.3 GHz processor on the iPhone 5, whereas on this device we have a dual core 1.3 GHz processor on the iPhone 5s as well. But again, there is a difference because this processor on this phone, which is 1.3 GHz dual core, is based on the 64-bit architecture, and it is an ARM V8 based processor, whereas this device has a ARM V7 processor which is a 32-bit processor. As far as sensors are concerned, both of these two devices have the similar sensors, including the accelerometer sensor, proximity sensor, gyro sensor, and compass sensor is also present on both of these phones. You can easily use any of these two phones for GPS navigation, and again you can use Google Maps for that. Google Maps will provide you precise navigation. As far as the GPU is concerned, there is a difference that the GPU which we have on the iPhone 5s, it has got a PowerVR G6 430 GPU, which is a quad core GPU which we have on iPhone 5s, whereas on this device we have PowerVR SGX 543 MP3 GPU, which is a triple core GPU. So you have a better GPU on this device, and the overall gaming performance is definitely good on both of these phones, but it is slightly better for heavy graphic intensive games on the iPhone 5s as compared to the iPhone 5. And again, this is also a difference which we notice whenever we play some high graphic intensive games like Modern Combat 4, which run smoothly on both of these two devices, but run little bit better in terms of the overall graphics on this one, in terms of the clarity, in terms of the overall rendering of the graphics. When we talk about the other difference in between these two phones is the battery. So the battery which we have on iPhone 5s is a 1530 milliampere hour battery. It is not a 1530, it is 1560 milliampere hour battery, whereas the battery which we have on iPhone 5 is 1440 milliampere hour battery. As far as the overall battery backup is concerned, the battery backup is fairly the same on both of these devices. There is a little difference in terms of the power rating, but again, in terms of day-to-day usage, both of these two devices can give you around 1 day battery backup, provided you know how to actually use your iPhone effectively so that you can turn off some features which are not required. We have talked about some of the features on iOS 7 which you can actually turn off in a separate video altogether, with which you can actually get more battery backup on your iPhone 5 or 5s. So in terms of the battery backup, I would say both of these devices are fairly close to each other. The power rating is a little bit different, whereas because we have a 1560 milliampere hour battery on this one, whereas we have 1440 milliampere hour battery on this one. When we talk about the other things, when it comes to the SAR values, the SAR values is again different for these two phones, but again it is not a major difference, and it is again inside the permissible limit for both of these two phones. So in terms of the overall differences, we have just highlighted the differences, and let me just summarize that for you again. The major difference in between these two devices is the fingerprint sensor. You have a fingerprint sensor on the home button on the iPhone 5s, and when it comes to the camera, you have a slightly better camera on iPhone 5s with slow motion video recording inbuilt supported within the camera UI. You have dual LED flash on the iPhone 5s, whereas you have single LED flash. You have a slightly higher battery in terms of the overall power rating on iPhone 5s, whereas you have a little bit lesser battery on this one, but again the overall battery backup remains the same. When we talk about the processor which we have on this device is a 64-bit dual core 1.3 GHz processor, whereas we have a dual core 1.3 GHz processor on this device, which is a 32-bit based processor. And you have ARM V7 processor on this device. We have ARM V8 processor on this device. As far as the GPU is concerned, we have a quad core GPU on this device, whereas we have a triple core GPU on this device. So in terms of the overall performance, iPhone 5 is slightly an enhanced version of the iPhone 5 in terms of the overall, you can say, the hardware. If we talk about in terms of the overall form factor, both of these devices are same, but in terms of the hardware, there is a little difference in between iPhone 5s and iPhone 5. So in case you have an iPhone 5, I would definitely not recommend you to go for an iPhone 5s, because there is not a major difference apart from the fingerprint sensor as far as these two phones are concerned. But when it comes to other version of iPhone which are going to come, then maybe you can upgrade it, not an upgrade worth from an iPhone 5 to 5s. In case you are using an iPhone 4, iPhone 5s will give you a much better value for money in terms of the features, in terms of the overall look and feel, the build quality and everything. But for iPhone 5 users, iPhone 5s is definitely not a good upgrade. But again, when it comes to the overall build quality and finishing, the iPhone 5s is now the most premium Apple iPhone you can get in the market as of now. Again, it is very pricey. It is priced approximately above 50,000 in terms of the overall price which you have to pay for it. But again, this is a premium phone, and Apple products have been very costly previously as well, and this one is slightly costly because of the dollar pricing, not only because of that it is an Apple iPhone, but it is slightly costly because of the dollar prices which we have in the market as of now as compared to the Indian rupees. So that's all from us as far as the quick hands-on comparison of the iPhone 5s and the iPhone 5. Do let us know if you have any specific question for any of these two devices. We would love to help you. You can like this video if this video helped you by clicking the like button below. You can subscribe to our YouTube video channel for more videos like this by clicking the subscribe button below. Thanks for watching this video. This is Abhishek signing off. Thank you.